first really official date I ever had with my then girlfriend, now wife, was the World's Fair. We were on a trip, walking around. I believe the World's Fair was in Knoxville, wasn't it? 1982. Yeah. First time I ever got the courage to ask her to do something with me was to walk around the World's Fair. So I'm still scared of her, but we are married. Our children loved Dollywood. We went to Dollywood more than we went to Carowinds, more than we went to Six Flags. And I was thinking driving in, that little kid. That little kid that I used to take to Dollywood, I took to visit a law school yesterday. Time goes fast. So, if you got kids or you got grandkids, time goes fast. It was made very clear to me that it is Maryville and not Maryville. And it was also made clear to me that it is Blount County and not Blount County. And it was made clear to me that I was expected to know the words to Rocky Top. Let me tell you, having been a lifelong University of South Carolina Gamecock fan, I know the words to Rocky Top. I have heard it sung. I hear it in my sleep. The judge is right. I don't like to leave home. I am married to one of the most beautiful women in the world. We live on a golf course, and we have every single sports channel that my local cable provider offers. Our TV doesn't work. I broke it during the UT South Carolina football game last fall when we blew a very big lead, you may recall. But I don't leave. My probation officer is a jerk. There are lots of reasons that I don't leave South Carolina. But I wanted to come and I wanted to say thank you for Judge Duncan for two reasons. Number one, and you know this, he is a reliable, conservative vote.
Yeah.
He may not be flashy. He may not change his hairstyle. He told me tonight he's had the same hairstyle since he was 2 years old. I haven't had the same hairstyle since this morning. He's a reliable conservative. However, let me tell you this. He's right. I was a district attorney, and we were on oversight together. And I have not only the pleasure but the benefit of getting to watch him question witnesses before I question witnesses. And let me tell you, lawyer to lawyer, and I know nobody likes lawyers. Some people don't like judges. Let me tell you, lawyer to lawyer. I watch him when he is questioning witnesses because that's how good he is. So I want to say thank you, not just for a conservative voting record, but for help when it comes to the GSA and the TSA and the DEA and Lois Lerner and Benghazi and whatever we are investigating. Thank you for sending me someone who knows how to ask a question and get an answer. Some of my colleagues like to flail their arms and make poor speeches, and some of them like to get right to the heart of the matter. And I want to say thank you for sending somebody to help me on oversight. Also want to tell you this. We have lost a lot of presidential races. In fact, we won 1 out of the last 6 popular votes for president. 1 out of 6. Yes, we won the Electoral College. But in terms of people walking into a voting booth and pushing a button, we have won 1 out of the last 6 popular votes for president. I made a D in my last math class, so I have no idea whether that qualifies as a trend or not, but I think it is. Losing 5 out of 6 forces you to evaluate, are you doing things the right way? Because let me tell you how important it is that we win the executive branch. Yes, we have the House. Yes, we took the Senate thanks to lots of your help. But you have to have the executive branch if you want to control who the next Attorney General is, if you want to control foreign policy, and heavens knows our foreign policy is a mess. The Department of Justice is a mess. Every time I see Ruth Bader Ginsburg with her head down, I hope she's asleep. I do. I hope she's just asleep. Because the chief executive, whoever wins in 2016, is likely going to make a Supreme Court choice. So it is imperative that we win the White House. It is great that we have both branches of Congress. But if you really want to fundamentally change the direction of this country, and the polling is overwhelming that you do want to change the direction of this country. If you want to change the direction of this country, you have to have the executive branch. So how do we do it? 3 things. Like any good Baptist, 3 things. Number 1, our message. It's not enough to tell people what you believe. You have to tell them why you believe it. It is not enough for us to tell people that we believe in respect for the rule of law. Of course I do. I was a prosecutor, but I don't believe in respect for the rule of law because I want to support the prison construction industry. I support respect for the rule of law because the law is the most unifying and equalizing force that we have in our country, in our culture. The law is the only thing that when we leave tonight is going to make the richest person in this room drive precisely the same speed limit as the poorest person in this room. The law is what requires the richest person in Tennessee to pay his or her taxes on precisely the same day as the poorest person. And in fact, we think so highly of this concept we call law and justice that we have chosen to have it epitomized by a blindfolded woman holding nothing but a set of scales. So when you tell people you believe in respect for the rule of law, tell them why. Do you believe that education is best decided at the state and local level? I do, as opposed to being decided in Washington. Tell them why you believe that. Do you believe in peace through strength? Tell them why you believe that. Do you believe that we owe a certain accountability to one another in this shared citizenry? Tell them why you believe that. Do you believe that a country as great and prosperous as ours ought to have a safety net for people who are indigent or going through tough times? Tell them why, but also tell them why in a country this great, you should not put up with the amount of waste, fraud, and abuse that we put up in those programs designed to help people. Do you believe that we should have certain guardrails that keep us from going into a cultural abyss? Do you have a belief on social issues? Can you not only tell them what the belief is, but can you tell them why you believe it? If we want to win again, it is not enough. It doesn't work with my 22-year-old. It doesn't work with my 18-year-old. Simply saying because I said so was great when they were 5 or 6. They're both eligible to vote now. So I need to tell them not only what we as a party believe, but why we believe it. That's the message. I don't think we need to change the message. The message of principled conservatism can win again. And if you want to change the message, I'm not your person. And I suspect Judge Duncan's not your person. If you think that we need to fundamentally change what it means to be conservative, we're probably not your guys. If you believe like I do, that there is a yearning in this country that our fellow citizens share with us for better times, for a better path, for an America that they can believe in, then tell them what you believe and tell them why you believe it. I don't know what Judge Duncan's experience was. I can tell you when I was in the courtroom, I never once had to prove to a jury motive. Motive is never an element of the crime. You don't ever have to prove why the person did what he or she did. But I promise you this, every single trial I had, and it was well north of 100, the jury wanted to know why. It is human nature. So if you want to win again in 2016 and beyond, tell them what you believe and tell them why you believe it. All right, what else? That's number 1. Secondarily, I want you to evaluate the manner in which you communicate what you believe. Are you persuasive? Is that the manner in which you communicate, particularly with people who don't agree with you? Because I can tell you that if you're losing elections, one of two things is happening. You're either not getting your people to the polls, or you're not the majority anymore. And if you're not the majority anymore, then you have to persuade. There's a verse in the book of Ecclesiastes that says there's a time and a season for everything. There's a time and a season to stand in front of people who agree with you and tell them exactly what they want to hear. That's a lot of what politics is. Just go find the group that already agrees with you and tell them exactly what they want to hear. There's a time, there's a season to validate what people already believe or ratify it. There's a time and there's a season to educate people. Perhaps they don't know as much as you do about a particular issue. There's a time and a season to rebuke. If you're a parent or a grandparent, you know precisely what season I'm talking about. There's a time to correct. But there is a time to persuade. And you have to ask yourself, in your well of souls, how good are you at persuading? What works? Facts, authenticity, sincerity, credibility, a relationship, having the other person think that you genuinely care about their best interest, even if you happen to disagree with them. The same things that work in every other facet of your life work in the political realm. And if you're trying to persuade someone, there aren't that many people in my